Hello and welcome to the Boomer Live. Today we are here to talk about two games which happened today as it was a Super Sunday. First, let's talk about the game which just got over. It was between CSK and Sunrisers Hyderabad. CSK had their former captain back again, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Of course, we'll be talking about the captaincy change for sure, but then CSK was at its impeccable best. They scored 203 on the 202 on the board, setting a target of 203 for Sunrisers Hyderabad. All thanks to a brilliant knock of 99 by Ruturaj Gaikwad. You got a feel for the man, Ruturaj Gaikwad. He is in impeccable form as of now, and he has had two great knocks in Pune Stadium, and he'd be pleasantly begging, Chennai Super Kings to have all their matches being played over here. Alongside him was another opener, the Kiwi man, Devon Conway, who played a brilliant knock of 80 not out. So it was altogether a brilliant game by Chennai. I would say the template game, as we always know them to play. I have Sandipani to talk about the game. Sandipani, you made any difference of this Chennai batting approach today compared to the other games?
I mean, where were they hiding Devon Conway? If this is the way he will come and bat, then why were they hiding him for the last 8-9 games? He played that first game against KKR and then he was off. I think for his wedding, he took a break. But then again, he came back. He came back strong. Uh, I always thought that even 203 was going to be difficult to defend, given that CSK did not have the most experienced bowling lineup, but they
Right,
sure had their spinners, the
right.
three spinners, and Jadeja and Thikshana bowled brilliantly. And you have to feel for Rituraj Gaikwad. I mean, he deserved that century after that. The way he took on Umran Malik was really special. The faster he was bowling, the farther he was traveling. So it was very good to see Rituraj Gaikwad coming back to form and in such a great way. I think he would have been begging the CSK more than the stadium. He will beg the CSK management to keep Dhoni as their captain. I think he plays very well under him. So yeah, I think all in all, a very as you mentioned, a template game for them. Get runs on the board and defend them clinically.
You reckon there was a change? For example, the batting approach is does it have to do anything with that approach now that towards the business end that they have nothing to lose from here on? Whatever they can gain is always a plus point. And if you look at their history, they've always had success having one overseas batsman and one Indian opening the batting. Is it something they should have already considered at the start of the IPL? Because Devon Conway left through the midway of the IPL, where he went possibly on April 20th. During that time is when he left for his wedding. But until then, they should have possibly tried Devon Conway from game two at least, because they just gave him one game, dropped him. It was something which surprised many as well.
Yeah, I think it was really surprising to see that they had dropped Devon Conway in the second game itself. And I think this should be the approach of all the teams going into the tournament, because if you notice that they played out the first six overs conservative. They were only 41 for no loss at the end of 6 overs, and after that both the batters decided that we have enough firepower in the back end, so we can really go for it. And against Sunrisers Hyderabad, you always fancy a Ambati Raidu or a MS Dhoni, because they have impeccable records against them. So they always knew that they had wickets in, and also Robin Uthappa was shifted down the order. So he also had, and they had batting till number 9. I think Pretorius would have come in at number 9. So it's a very deep batting lineup where they have the batting depth. If you can play out the first 6 overs without losing too many wickets, you should just go for it, no matter who the bowler is.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to give credit, the way in which both built their partnership. It just reminded them of possibly Faf du Plessis and also Ruturaj opening in the last season. And that's where they had most of the success. They scored almost 70% of the runs last season. Of course, let's talk about SRH, of course. And I reckon, there should be a petition signed to make the Swiggy fastest delivery as Umran Malik Award. 154 Ks. I'm not seeing possibly any Indian bowler about that fast in my lifetime. And this lad is in top form. I know today he went for plenty of runs, but then let's talk about Ruturaj Gaikwad, the balance which he showed, or the stability which he showed in playing those quicker balls. Did it impress you? Because it didn't look like he was not scoring a lot of runs previously as well.
Yeah, I think it's just got to do with the approach, the mindset. He was prepared to take him on no matter what. Like, he was bowling those short pitch deliveries, which we have seen that has troubled Rituraj in the past. He even got some of those edges that flew past the keeper for boundaries. But all in all, he had the luck. not enough luck to score a century though. But
Yeah.
yeah, he played really well, and I won't take anything away from Umran Malik. I mean, he has been absolutely brilliant this season, and even today, if you consider the death over that he bowled to say Dhoni and Devon Conway, he was brilliant in it. He nailed those Yorkers, and Yorkers at some pace, 154 kilometers per hour. It was like really good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Something which we'll also definitely talk about as well. And let's talk about that debate which is ongoing now about whether Jadeja should have handed over the captaincy to Mahendra Singh Dhoni or not. And that's something which we will talk about now. Before that, we'll just say a question. Yes, Mr. How To, we are doing Twitter Spaces. You can join us pre-game on our Twitter Spaces. Thanks for that. We'll also continue being on here on YouTube. Uh, Please do watch us here. Thanks for being an active member. I
आप
always see.
आइए फिर भी चलेगा, कोई आए ना आए आप तो आइए.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll always be here,
Yeah.
sir, to support. And thanks for giving us views as well. Let it be criticism, let it be anything. We'll just take it on the stride. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
It means a lot to us. So, and do join Twitter Spaces. How to? We join just pre-game. We go to on Twitter with Jones, Sandipani, Nikhil, so everybody else as well. So, don't waste your time if you don't want to watch as well. So there's no issue with that. Let's continue with that. Let's talk about Mahendra Singh Dhoni's captaincy switch that he has taken up the captaincy back. What do you reckon would have possibly happened? Is it that Jadeja was feeling the pressure way too much, or is it that Dhoni would have felt like, okay, I have enough cricket left in me. Maybe now the way in which I'm striking the ball, let me take over the captaincy. Maybe let me group Jadeja, maybe possibly for one more season, then hand over the captaincy back to him.
I think at the start of the season, CSK, the management, they were looking at Jadeja as the successor of Dhoni. Like once Dhoni decides to call it quits, Jadeja will take them over. So I think they gave him the role of captaincy with Dhoni present, like with Dhoni still playing this season and probably the next one too. So he could like learn from the best and get to know the different strategies that he uses and everything basically. But I think it backfired we clearly saw that it backfired, and his performance was taking a toll on his performance. Jadeja was dropping catches, he was not scoring the best, like at the death overs he was coming in and he was not being able to hit those balls clearly. And then with the bowling as well, bowling has been an issue for Jadeja in IPL over the years. I think barring one or two games every season, he definitely struggles with the ball. But all in all, we have never seen Jadeja drop catches. And CSK was not at all performing well. So I think the management, it was a very confusing decision that why they handed it back to Dhoni. So I think now he will probably like lead them this season and see where it goes in the next one. Because we saw, and it was also a concern that Dhoni was not performing well in the last and the like 2019-2020 seasons, 2021
Right.
seasons. He was not at his best, both with the bat and gloves. So, but this season at the start, we saw that Dhoni came in, he played those two match-winning knocks, and he has been finishing well for them as well. So the management thought that yeah, he might have it in him to go for another 1 or 2 years. So they probably handed him back the captaincy to sort of revive their campaign this season. I think they are still in it. If they win all their 5 games, it's too much to ask from them, but there is still a chance.
Yes, Pratiksha has put up a message in the Rahul Tripathi was disappointing today. Of course, we'll talk about Sunrisers Hyderabad now, because you rightly mentioned about CSK, and CSK fans will be happy that they've got their third win, and they wouldn't be disappointed at all because they wanted MS Dhoni back. And this season, at the start of the season, they're very disappointed that MS Dhoni handed over his reins to Ravindra Jadeja. Now that he's back, you can all of a sudden see that excitement among the fans as well. Let's talk about the Sunrisers Hyderabad performance. Once you concede 203, and even the last match, the bowling is now slowly being cracked down by the team. They're targeting bowlers. They now understood that if you go behind a couple of their bowlers, they do not have a plan B to which they can stick back to. For example, you saw today Marco Jansen being targeted. Even the last game, Marco Jansen was targeted. They've actually trying out to play out that spinner's role as well. They just have one spinner in the name of Washington Sundar. He's not been effective at all. Even at the start of the IPL, even now, you reckon that they're missing that proper control spinner like Jagdish and Sujit, played that role to perfection when Washington Sundar wasn't there, where he was picking up those crucial couple of wickets in the middle, which helped the fast bowlers to apply pressure from another end as well. Where do you reckon Sunrisers have gone wrong in the last couple of games?
I think they went wrong. I did not see Washington Sundar ball today. I think why did they pick him if he was not to play as an all rounder? They would have easily gone with Suchit. If you are keeping Washington Sundar and not giving him the ball, I think Markham came in and bowled 3 overs in the middle overs. That actually helped the CSK batters to gain that momentum. Markram was coming in and both the batters were targeting him, and it was basically easy for Ruturaj, a right-hander taking on a off spinner. It was coming to him, the ball was coming nicely to him, and Markram was bowling those fuller length deliveries, which was traveling all the way. So I did not understand their approach, and also we saw that it was helping the spinners. CSK played 3 spinners and they bowled, I think, 10 overs from the spinners. Also, Jadeja bowled just the 3 overs. He could have bowled another one as well because he was bowling very economically. So, in a track where you CSK is using 10 overs of spin, where was Washington Sundar? I don't know. I did not understand that ploy. That I thought probably he was some sort of injured or something because we did not
Yeah,
see him come to bat till number 7. He did not bowl.
there's a
It was
report
very
that
strange.
he's got a split webbing, which
Oh,
is quite a disappointment for Washington Sundar yet again. I would say it's a very unfortunate career for him because he comes back after an injury. He gets another time, he gets another injury, and he has to sit back. And I hope this injury doesn't put him on the sidelines for way too long because he's not had that stability as well. Every time he comes back into cricket, he gets injured. Again, he has to go back, and yet another injury for him that he has got a split webbing on his right hand, which means that his bowling arm is affected at this point. And unfortunately, he couldn't bowl because of this very reason. But yet, you reckon they should be sticking back to Jagdish and switches, regardless of Washington Sundar being injured or not.
yeah. They now they definitely have to stick back to Suchit because he did nothing wrong in the 2 3 games that he played. It was a case like Tim Saudi. Like he came in for KKR when Pat Cummins was not there. He was bowling brilliantly. He played those 3 games. He picked up wickets. He did everything that the franchise asked him to do. And then yet when Pat Cummins came, he was immediately dropped. The same happened with Suchit. He bowled brilliantly in the last 2 3 games that he played. And then again, when Washington Sundar was back, he was rightly dropped. If Washington Sundar is 100% fit, I would definitely go with Washington Sundar because even before getting injured, I think he was contributing both with bat and ball. He was playing those 30, 40 or 15, 16 runs, 15, 16 deliveries. He was playing those crucial knocks at the end of the innings and coming back to bowl in the power plays and in the middle overs as well. So I think it's a big role that Washington Sundar plays for Sunrisers Hyderabad, and rightly so, because if you know the franchise's history, they are sort of filling Rashid Khan's role. Like the spinner that plays, he has to come in and bowl those 4 overs and contribute with the bat as well. So it's a very tough job filling in somebody as prominent as Rashid Khan's
Right.
shoes. But I think Jagdish was doing his part brilliantly. I think he'll be back for the next game if Washington Sundar is injured. And I don't think you should play Washington Sundar if he is not an 100% fit because Suchit has done nothing wrong and they were winning. I mean, why change something when it is not like again? Why mend something which is not broken?
Absolutely. Can I ask you something else? Because I am not blaming Shashank Singh at all at this point. Singh hasn't done anything wrong. Whatever opportunities he's got, he's done it so well. In the last game as well, he hit those 3 sixes, which gave them that score of 195 odd. Can they play both Washington and Suchit and put possibly Shashank on the sidelines? Because both Washington and Suchit are capable with the bat, and possibly what Shashank would contribute with the bat, they possibly can contribute both together as well. Is that an option what Sunrisers can possibly adopt going ahead?
I mean, if they are playing on more of the flatter decks where like bowlers are going for runs, I think they should keep a backup with the bowling because we saw today that if the 5 bowlers are not doing anything, then say somebody as inexperienced a bowler as Markram has to come in and bowl those 3 4 overs in the middle overs, which is very difficult. You can't ask of him to come in at number 4 and score those 50 60 runs and then again bowl those 3 4 overs because that's not his role in the team, even though he has enrolled as an all-rounder, but still we expect him, he's more of a batting all-rounder than a bowling all-rounder, so he can be a 6th bowling option, not your 5th bowling option according to me. So going into the, also Shashank has done nothing wrong in the last game. Sunrisers stood a chance against Gujarat Titans because of the because of the last over carnage that Shashank put on against Loki Ferguson. This is just his 2nd game and you should give him the chance. And also I think this is only the 2nd game that SRH has lost chasing. And both the games that they lost chasing were targets over 200. So most of the times they have been bowling really well, restricting
These
the
have been on the
opposition.
same ground as well, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
will definitely not like to play on Pune anymore.
Yeah, so basically their motto is restrict the opposition to a small total, and then their top five batters, which includes Puran, Aiden Markram, Rahul Tripathi, Abhishek Sharma, and Kane Williamson. All of them are in good form. Apart from Williamson, I think he was not in the best of forms coming into today's game. But again, he had a very good record against Chennai Super Kings, so it was not easy to bet against him.
Absolutely, and he's got a
Also,
good.
yeah, I just saw that question. I think to agree with it, Rahul Tripathi disappointed me a tad bit because, but you can't expect him to come in and score those 30, 40 or, odd runs in every game. He is like eventually going to have a bad game, and I
Yeah,
think it's okay. It's
I mean
okay
that's
to be out in
analyzing
the
well
first ball. Yeah,
at this point in the tournament. They've got 5 games remaining, and
yeah.
once again I'll remind that this is a tournament of momentum. Once you start losing momentum, all of a sudden it'll look like you've lost time, and by that time you'll be knocked out of the tournament as well. They have 10 points, but they're still sitting on fourth in the table with one game remaining compared to RCB or compared to Delhi Capitals as well. So which means their position is still secured, but you never know with this IPL. Anything can happen anywhere. The top three teams are looking very comfortable at this point with Gujarat at 16, Lucknow at 12, alongside Rajasthan Royals, and you would feel that this tournament has got a lot more in store. That's why we call the business end of IPL is always the most gripping part of it. And you never know, maybe even Chennai Super Kings can possibly come slowly and make do party spoilers of dominant teams as they started doing today. And who knows, a couple of big wins, and they might be also in the hunt for the playoffs. I'm not going to predict until it's over. Let's talk about the game which happened earlier today, which was between Lucknow Super Giants and Delhi Capitals. Lucknow Super Giants, of course, batted first, and they posted a very good score of 195. Delhi Capitals at a stage you felt like they were in a hurry to finish this game off, where Rishabh Pant came out and he went berserk. He was 26 runs of 8 balls, and he was 42 of 19. Then all of a sudden he put brakes on as well, and he got out 42 of 30 balls. I don't know what happened to him at that stage. But Lucknow is shaping to be a very good side, isn't it? Look, if you look at it, they have a perfect balance, and KL Rahul is scoring runs for them. They're of course dependent on KL Rahul, but you cannot blame in a tournament like IPL. If one guy has such a tournament, and if you have a great bowling attack, what more can you ask for?
Yeah, definitely. And why would you blame KL Rahul? Because all the teams are banking on say one or two star, like they are banking on all their players, but they have those one or two star performers in every team. Say for example, Rajasthan has Josh Butler and Chahal. KKR they bank on Russell. So every team has their star performers, and I think KL Rahul has established himself in such a manner that the wherever in whichever team he goes, he will be a star performer for the team, and he'll outshine all his mates. But I think that innings from Deepak Huda was equally good, if not better. I think
Right.
Deepak Huda, along with KL Rahul, the partnership that they laid, that laid the foundation for the finish. But I think again, Delhi did a phenomenal job in the death overs, restricting them to just 194. I think they just scored 48 or 49 in the last 5 overs,
Yeah.
which you don't expect when you have 8 wickets in your hand in the last 5.
I mean, would you blame somewhere? Was it the pitch, or was it Marcus Stoinis also not able to get going because he's had a lot of opportunities to bat? If they would have lost this match, they would have been, introspecting at themselves, saying that 5 overs would have cost us the game, and they also they escaped by margins. They lost by close to 11 runs, and of course, Delhi just couldn't finish off because of the lack of wickets they had. But let's talk about Mohsin Khan, because he's been a star who's in the making. Another left arm pacer. We did discuss about him briefly in the last game when they played against Punjab Kings. But today he picked up 4 wickets, and he looked in absolute control, and he had a plan to every batsman. He's got the pace. He's very clever with this mix up as well. What do you make of this bowler, and how crucial was that spell today?
Yeah, I think that was the difference between the two teams, I guess, because he came in the opening overs, he picked up that 1 wicket. He came in the middle overs to break that partnership. Again, he came in the death overs and picked up 2 wickets. So it has been very good for Lucknow Super Giants. Like whoever they are playing with the ball, they are turning out to be good. But again, if they would have lost today, it would have been that one issue that I have been speaking with them, that they are probably one specialist batter short. They dropped Avish Khan today and brought in another bowling all-rounder in the form of Gautam. So I
Yeah.
told, I have been speaking about it. And if you are playing Badoni, Why put him down the order at say a number 6, number 7? Uh, I mean, okay, you
But do you
lost two
reckon
wickets
that
in the
that's
16th,
the
17th
rule they
over. Yeah,
defined for them? So I want to ask you, do you reckon that that's the rule they've defined for him, saying that you come after 15th over, you have finished possibly 3 games for us if you look at the tournament, and you're better off finishing the game. Maybe you might find another good number 10. Deepak Huda has been doing no wrong at all. He played a beautiful innings even today. And they might be investing in a future finisher as well, just giving him that, putting him that deep waters. And knowing Gautam Gambhir, you know that Gautam Gambhir likes to test his players in different situations.
but having said that, but against Gujarat Titans, Badoni, when the team was in trouble, he came in and he played that beautiful ankles knock. He played that 53, 54 of 37 deliveries where he paced his innings absolutely brilliantly. So if Deepak Huda has been settling in very well at number 3, he scored 36 in the last game. He scored 52 today, 50 something today. So he has been shaping up really well for them. I think if he fails or if they lose 2 wickets early, then they can try in a Badoni at number 4, because we have seen that he can pace the innings properly. He shaped the innings properly in the first game. I think he almost gave Lucknow their first victory against Gujarat Titans in the very first game itself.
Yeah,
So if you have seen his talent, you have seen that he can finish the game for you, as well as he can play those like he can pace his innings really well. He can come in, he can take those singles, which we spoke about Ishan Kishan, who was really struggling with taking the singles in the last couple of games. He was just banking on boundaries. Even we saw in the last game that he was backing on boundaries to score. It eventually came up for him, but if it does not, it will look really bad. You are playing dot balls, but in the case of Badoni, we saw that he can rotate the strike, he can keep the game going. That is a very good quality to have, and I think they should try him in at number 4. If they
absolutely.
are assigning Stoinis the role of a finisher, because they have Stoinis, they have Krunal Pandya, they have Jason Holder, and also if they are playing Gotham, they have Gotham. So they have four all rounders that are coming in and scoring. Like, they are all known for finishing the games, apart from say a Stoinis who comes in and plays at number 3, number 4 for Australia and even in the Big Bash League. But that happens in pitches where there is enough bounce, even bounce, like fast pitches, not in Indian conditions. I think here you can definitely bank on Badoni to come in at number 4.
True. Let's talk about the chase by Delhi Capitals. You definitely would have felt that they could have kept on going with the Mitchell Marsh and Rishabh Pant partnership. Did it baffle you a little that Mitchell Marsh started walking on a dismissal, which shouldn't have been a dismissal? There was no spike at all on the sneakometer where Krishnappa Gautam ball. Even Krishnappa Gautam was surprised. Delhi Capitals will be like, this time around, even though umpire, we're not going to blame the umpires, we'll blame ourselves now.
Yeah, and I think it's a very rare sight to see an Australian walking,
Yeah,
having not been dismissed, because they usually don't work even if they have the thickest of edges. But banter aside, but I think it was just one of those moments, where brain fed moments, where he did not realize there was a sound. He probably thought that he had nicked it, and he even turned to Rishabh Pant. I don't know if you should know, he had a iffy feeling, and then Rishabh Pant, I don't know what they,
you
like,
reckon that was the
what was
turning
the
point
yeah.
in the game? You reckon that was
Yeah,
the turning?
definitely. The way Mitchell Marsh and Rishabh Pant was going, I thought that 196 was going to fall short, because they came in and they started counter attacking. You have always seen the best way of defense is counter attack. If they were 13 for 3 at the end of they were 13 for 2 at the end of 3 overs when Warner was dismissed, and then they came in and then they just took on the bowlers. Kunal Pandya, Rishabh Pant came in. He was lucky. Obviously, if they would have put a first slip in, Rishabh Pant would have probably got out for 4. But then he was lucky today. There was also a catch missed by Rahul, and
Yeah,
again Ravi Bishnoi bowled a brilliant spell. You don't expect Ravi Bishnoi to bowl so well in the second innings of a game. But having
it was
said
a day
that,
game.
yeah, it was a day game. Also, he had very good matchups.
Yeah,
Ravi Bishnoi had dismissed most of the DC players. He had a very good matchup against Robman Powell. He had a good matchup against, say, Rishabh Pant. So it was not a
absolutely.
surprise that he was coming in and performing really well.
Right. Not surprised. And Delhi
But it was
Capitals.
definitely a turning point. Yeah, Delhi had definitely a turning point for Delhi. The way they were going, I think they could have sort of, one player should have said that, okay, I'll now rotate the strike. I'll keep playing till the end. I think Pant should have done that. I think, felt the pressure. He played a couple of dot balls in that Jason Holder over. Jason Holder came into bowl that 13th over. He played 3 dot balls, and then the next over was a brilliant over by Bishnoi, and I
Yeah,
think that just shifted the momentum towards Lucknow.
Absolutely. I
Delhi
mean,
were then asked too much, and yeah,
you don't
they just
expect
crumbled
such a
under pressure.
moment to be played out, and it just turned out to be one of the turning moments of this game because I never expected Mitchell Marsh to have that big. Not even a single noise was around. I don't know what was the noise when the ball just passed the bat and even umpire gave it out. So these things happen in cricket, and it's unfortunate that Delhi Capitals are on the receiving end more often than not with these kind of stuff. But having said that, Delhi Capitals, it's a huge loss for them. What is going to be the tournaments, the prospects for them going ahead, because they are still missing out on their bankable retention and on Vic Nokia, who hasn't played really a game. He just came in for one game. He balled 3 overs, got suspended for balling two wayside no balls as well. Do you reckon that having him back in the squad at some stage will definitely boost their squad balance and definitely boost their squad's morale?
But then, can you drop Mustafizur in the form that he is in right now? I think Mustafizur has been filling in his boots brilliantly. He has been bowling those tough overs very well. He has been nailing those Yorkers. The change of pace has been all been good because the Delhi Capitals, they are not going for too many in the death overs. If you see, even in the game against KKR, they went in the game against KKR, they went for a few in the last five. But again, held his end. Mustafizur bowled brilliantly in the last over and the 18th over that he bowled.
Can they
Also
just
in today's,
go into
yeah,
that philosophy of the Delhi Capitals over the last 3 years where they bring in an Indian batsman at number three? I know it's too harsh on Mitchell Marsh, but maybe just put Mitchell Marsh on the sidelines, play the two overseas quicks, and just bank on them to deliver for them. Because Delhi Capitals over the last 3 seasons have had success playing Rabada, Nokia alongside them. Sometimes they had Ashwin and Aksar also to step up with their game. But now, if you look at it, they just have one overseas quick, and Indian bowlers have to do the job. If they don't come out, it just looks like you have to chase plenty.
they also had a very stable Indian opening batsman in the form of Shikhar Dhawan. Now
Yeah,
they have to play that foreign play. Now they have to play Warner instead of him. So one foreign slot is gone over there. And then you probably can't drop a Rovman Powell because he has been coming good for them in the last 3 games. He has
yeah.
been coming back to form and he has been understanding the match situations. Like he has been taking those singles, getting off strike when he's feeling that he can't probably, and not giving away his wicket, not throwing away his wicket, which we saw in the last few games, in the first few games actually. So I think they can't drop Rovman, they can't drop Warner. So I think the only player, and I don't think they will drop Mitchell Marsh because Mitchell Marsh was brought in as a like-to-like replacement for Marcus Stoinis in the Delhi camp, and I think they are going to stick with him. Even though Delhi has a very stable bowling unit where they have a sixth and a seventh bowling option, so Mitchell Marsh does not have to necessarily bowl in any of the games. But they are probably going to stick with him in at number three, especially with the start that he has been providing, the intent that he has been showing. Even in the game against KKR, he did not get too many runs, but he was looking to go after the bowling. I think that's
Absolutely.
been Delhi Capitals' approach this season. Prithvi Shaw, Warner coming in at the top, going after the bowling. Mitchell Marsh comes in at number three, goes after the bowling. Same with Rishabh Pant, same with
Indeed.
Robman Powell. They are going to play a very aggressive brand of cricket.
I mean
And
that,
when
that
they need stability, they will push a Lalit Yadav up the order. So
right.
they even have that option as well.
Right. I mean, Delhi Capitals, they have a game in hand. That's a positive sign for them. And also now with Sunrisers Hyderabad losing on a couple of games, it's only going to boost their chance. And it's going to be a competition, I believe, between Sunrisers, RCB, and Delhi Capitals. Also, RCB on the other hand is losing on a momentum. I'm not just saying from a fan's perspective, but yeah, of course, it is going to be an interesting competition between these three teams. And you never know, someone just coming up from the back. Kolkata Knight Riders, they have a must-win game tomorrow as well. So, or else it's going to be uphill task for them to climb back. Having said that, let's look at one area where you possibly would have had a good day if you were either of the fans of your favorite teams. It's of course the fantasy day out where you would have made your perfect 11 and you would have absolutely nailed it. Of course, Mohsen Khan had a terrific day. He picked up 126 points alongside KL Rahul, who scored that brilliant 80 odd, and you have Shardul Thakur and Deepak Huda, who scored that brilliant 50, and Aksar Patel as well towards the end. With the bat, he came good, though, and not pick up any wickets. How did your day go in the first game?
I had 4 out of the 5. I did not have Shardul Thakur, but most of the guys did not have Shardul Thakur because you don't expect him to have a very good game all of a sudden because he was going for a lot of runs and not contributing too much with the bat in the last 3 games. So yeah, but I had a very good day because I had the other four. I had KL Rahul as my captain. I had I think Mitchell Marsh as my vice captain in one of those teams, which turned out to be really good for me. Again, I was playing with multiple teams in the Grand League, and in the smaller leagues, I was going with that one stable team, which gave me a lot of points, a lot of earnings today. So good day.
Yeah, for me too. I had KL Rahul as my captain, but my vice captain was Ravi Bishnoi. I wished he had picked up a couple more wickets where I would have had a good day, but definitely I had almost all the players. I think I had all the five in my team except possibly Deep. I didn't have Shardul Thakur as well, so it was 4 out of 5 for me. Even when you look at the team from an outset. Let's talk about the next game. How did your day go in the Chennai Super Kings versus Sunrisers Hyderabad game? Did you have Ruturaj Gaikwad as your captain?
No, I had Rituraj Gaikwad in my team, but I did not have him as a captain. But again, a very good day because Rituraj Gaikwad was in my team. I did not have Devon Conway in my team. If you should speak about the top five, I think Devon Conway would definitely feature in it. And I did not have Devon Conway in it, but I had Mukesh Chaudhary. I had, Rituraj Gaikwad. I had Jadeja and all the other players who contributed well in the game. So I
Yeah.
had Nicholas Puran. I had Dhoni and Nicholas Puran both. Dhoni unfortunately did not have enough balls to go after the Hyderabad bowling, which he loves so much. But again, Nicholas Puran gave me a lot of points, and I had a good day all in all because Kane Williamson was also there.
Yeah.
Because if you think properly, because all of them have a very good matchup against the opponent.
Yeah.
Kane Williamson averages around 44 against Chennai. Ambati Raidu, the only miss I guess was Ambati Raidu because he did not get the opportunity to bat. He also has a have average of 47, 48 against Hyderabad.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, for me it was pretty decent, but other than I didn't have Ruturaj Gaikwad in my team at all. I didn't expect him to get going today. I expected Ambati Raidu and also someone like I don't know. I just had a feeling that Jadeja would have a good game, but just didn't turn up well for me. One of those days, if my first game goes right,
no, he had a good game, but he did not have a good game fantasy wise. He did not
fantasy
pick up
wise.
those wickets,
Yeah,
but
I
he
didn't
was
expect him
brilliant with the ball.
to
Yeah,
those 4 wickets as well. So I didn't have him
yeah.
also in my team. So it was a bad day for me at the office when it comes to the Chennai game. But the first game went pretty good for me, so I'll just be happy with that when it comes to my fantasy setup. Let's talk about the one fantasy app which gives you totally free of cost earnings and free of cost rewards. It is Boomer 11 because Boomer 11 is a totally free to play fantasy app. And this IPL, if you play in Boomer 11, you can win prize of worth up to $5,000. So why are you really waiting for? Just get on Boom 11 right now, sign up, play our contest, make your team because tomorrow is a big match. Rajasthan taking on Kolkata, so we'll be putting out our fantasy predictions on our social medias as well. So you can take the reference to make your teams on that behalf. And join us on our Twitter spaces where we'll be going live pre-game with Jones, Sandipani, Nikhil. I'll be also there. So just get more of this content from us and also enjoy the IPL with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel right now because every day after the game we'll be joining you. So that's something which you don't want to miss. We'll be dissecting the game as today. We'll be recording with matchups, stats, everything what we possibly can as well. So stay updated with us and enjoy the IPL with Boom 11. Thank you and have a good day. And also remember, play, pick, and win.